Today is Thursday, August 13th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today out of the Big Book, we are on the chapter More About Alcoholism. We will read I don't know if we start at page 32, but we will read the rest of the page of 32 if we did start it. Out of the 12 and 12, we are on step 5. We'll read the rest of page 55. And of course, NA's just for today and Al-Anon's cards to change. So with that, hope y'all are doing well this morning, my friends. It is Friday Eve. I'm doing my happy dance right now. Bright and early this morning. I hope y'all are doing well. It's so nice to wake up sober, happy, joyous, and free today. I just got done praying and I thought to myself, there are some things, some intrusive thoughts that still kind of creep in from time to time, especially when I'm, waking up in the morning or anything like that. And I thought to myself, you know what? I gave those things over to my higher power. I've talked to somebody else about it. I have boundaries put into place to make sure that that doesn't happen again. So I'm making those direct amends where I can and indirect amends. I don't have to live there anymore. There's literally nothing else that I can think of to do about it. So I just let it go once again instead of picking it back up. And since that prayer, I'm feeling pretty darn good this morning. So with that, let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. All right, my friends. So if you recall from yesterday's reading, we talked about all the methods that I've certainly used to try to control my drinking. And I think the point that's being made here is for us to try to learn for ourselves. Hey, try some controlled drinking. If we can handle it, maybe we're not alcoholic. But if we can't, well, only we can decide. So we're on page 32. Though there's no way of proving it, we believe that early in our drinking careers, most of us could have stopped drinking. But the difficulty is that few alcoholics have enough desire to stop while there's still yet time. We have heard of a few instances where people who showed definite signs of alcoholism were able to stop for a long period because of an overpowering desire to do so. Here is one. A man of 30 was doing a great deal of spree drinking. He was very nervous in the morning after these bouts and quieted himself with more liquor. He was ambitious to succeed in business, but saw that he would get nowhere if he drank at all. Once he started, he had no control whatever. He made up his mind that until he had been successful in business and had retired, he would not touch another drop. An exceptional man, he remained bone dry for 25 years and retired at the age of 55 after a successful and happy business career. Then he fell victim to a belief which practically every alcoholic has, that his long period of sobriety and self-discipline had qualified him to drink as other men. Out came his carpet slippers and a bottle. In 2 months, he was in the hospital, puzzled and humiliated. He tried to regulate his drinking for a while, making several trips to the hospital meantime. Then, gathering all of his forces, he attempted to stop altogether and found that he could not. Every means of solving his problem which money could buy was at his disposal. Every attempt failed. Though a robust man in retirement, he went to pieces quickly and was dead within 4 years. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on step 5. Admit it to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. And one of the powerful lines we left off with yesterday was on page 55. If we had swept the searchlight of step 4 back and forth over our careers, and as revealed in stark relief those experiences we'd rather not remember, if we have come to know how wrong thinking and action have hurt us and others, then the need to quit living by ourselves with those tormenting ghosts of yesterday get more urgent than ever. We have to talk to somebody about them. So in other words, for me, if I cannot stop thinking about it and the damage I did, and the self-loathing is just getting worse and worse and worse, I've got to get it out somehow. But there's usually one thing that's trying to hold me back. Fear. So, we're going to read the rest of page 55. So intense, though, is our fear and reluctance to do this, that many AAs at first try to bypass step 5. We search for an easier way, which usually consists of the general and fairly painless admission that when drinking, we were sometimes bad actors. Then, for good measure, we add dramatic descriptions of that part of our drinking behavior which our friends probably know about anyhow. But of the things which really bother and burn us, we say nothing. Certain distressing or humiliating memories, we tell ourselves, ought not to be shared with anyone. These will remain our secret. Not a soul must ever know. We hope that they'll go to the grave with us. NA just for today, August 13th. Difficult people. By giving unconditional love, we become more loving. And by sharing spiritual growth, we become more spiritual. Basic text, page 103. Most of us have one or two exceptionally difficult people in our lives. How do we deal with such a person in our recovery? First, we take our own inventory. Have we wronged this person? Has some action or attitude of ours served as an invitation for the kind of treatment that they have given us? If so, we will want to clear the air, admit that we have been wrong, and ask our higher power to remove whatever defects may prevent us from being helpful and constructive. Next, as people seeking to live spiritually oriented lives, we approach the problem from the other person's point of view. They may be faced with any number of challenges we either fail to consider or know nothing about. Challenges that cause them to be unpleasant. As it's said, we seek in recovery to forgive rather than to be forgiven, to understand rather than be understood. Finally, if it is within our power, we seek ways to help others overcome their challenges without injuring their dignity. We pray for their well-being and spiritual growth, and for the ability to offer them the unconditional love that has meant so much to us in our recovery. We cannot change the difficult people in our lives, nor can we please everyone. But by applying the spiritual principles that we have learned in NA, we can learn to love them. Just for today, higher power, help me serve other people, not demand that they serve me. Al-Anon's Courage to Change, August 13th. I put my sponsor on a pedestal. I looked to her for all the answers and saw her as my mother, friend, mentor, a goddess. She appeared to be more than I could ever be. She was perfect. One day, she made a mistake and fell from the pedestal on which I had placed her. How could she be so human? How dare she display such imperfection? At first, I felt frightened and abandoned. But my sponsor's slide from grace led me to see that I was responsible for my own Al-Anon program. I found that the answers that she had given me were simply her own experience, strength, and hope, along with her understanding of the 12 steps of recovery. I learned that the tools of the program are available to me too. And I learned that, although she was my sponsor, that we were both changing, stumbling, growing members of Al-Anon. Most importantly, I learned that setting a human being up to be perfect creates inevitable failure. Today's reminder: have I put someone on a pedestal? Am I encouraging anyone to have an exaggerated view of me? Al-Anon helps me to see that while we offer mutual support, we must learn to rely on ourselves. Today, I will remember that my answers lie within me. Sponsorship is a friendship made up of two members learning from one another. Two people learning a new way to live, one day at a time. All right, my friends, that concludes today's reading. And man, I love that Al-Anon reading. While it's fresh, that's so true. You know, when I put other people on a pedestal, my sponsor or anybody else, I'm setting myself up for failure and that other person, because they're human beings just like we are. Bill, I've heard interviews and I've heard stories where he's like, hey, don't put me on a pedestal. You know, nobody's perfect. And I'll tell you, expectations, I put myself up on this pedestal that I had to be perfect. When I would fall for my expectations or I wouldn't meet them, I would really criticize myself. And somebody told me to kind of, hey, buddy, talk to yourself like you would talk to a dear friend who's trying. What would you say to them? And simply, dude, you're human. I can see that you're trying to change. You're making a lot of progress. Keep going, man. You messed up. Okay, so does everybody else. So learning to kind of say that to myself, to just, hey, don't wallow in that self-pity and self-resentment. Just keep going. And don't really put anybody on a pedestal. I am guilty of that. And man, do I love the NA reading as well. Talking about difficult people. Does anyone else have a difficult person in their life? I love this. It says, first, we take our own inventory. Don't look at them so much. Look at me. Last year, I had a difficult person that I worked with, and I had to really look within and think, well, you know what? I'm no Rose in this situation. I've made my own mistakes with this one. I thought to myself, have we wronged this person, just like the reading says? Has some action or attitude of ours served as an invitation for the kind of treatment they've given us? So what's my part? If so, we will want to clear the air, admit that we have been wrong, and ask our higher power to remove whatever defects may prevent us from being helpful and constructive. So the bottom line is, I felt like in this situation, my integrity was being attacked. What did that affect in me? My pride, my ego was threatened. And I wouldn't say lashed out, but I did confront this person. And, I was hoping that, we could handle this privately and it wouldn't be a big deal, but it kind of blew up. And guess what? I didn't pray about this before I did it. I didn't, and I should have. But I do remember after the conflicts that we had throughout the year, there was a couple of them. I remember toward the end of the school year, I pulled her in the hallway. I looked her in the eye and I said, I'm so sorry for my part. I'm sorry for what I did, what I said, and how I reacted. And I gave her a hug. Actually, leading up to that apology was the next paragraph. Next, as people seeking to live spiritually oriented lives, we approach the problem from the other person's point of view. They may have been faced with any number of challenges that we either failed to consider or know nothing about. All right, I just got some room service, some bacon, pancakes, and blueberries. Oh man, here we go. I better go ahead and wrap this up. But what I was saying is I had a vague understanding, a little bit of understanding on what this person was going through outside of work. And I thought to myself, no wonder. As a matter of fact, I respect her functioning as well as she is right now. And just like this reading talks about that that's the referencing St. Francis prayer, as it is said, we seek in recovery to forgive rather than be forgiven, to understand than be understood. So I had to think to myself, man, forget about yourself, Rob. What's she going through? Did you ever consider that? And then finally, if it is within our power, we seek ways to help others overcome their challenges. Without injuring their dignity, we pray for their well-being and spiritual growth. And this person, I tried to do the best I could to help her while on the job, after the fact, and And I definitely prayed a lot for her. And I'm kind of reminded to pray for her now as well, even though we no longer work together. I'm in a different district now. But the bottom line is 3 beautiful ways to deal with that. Because conflict's coming. I can't avoid it. I've tried. Sometimes it just comes. 1, just as the reading said, take our own inventory. 2, look at the world through their eyes, or at least try to. Seek to understand and be understood, and forgive and be forgiven. And 3, be of service and pray for them. Man, those 3 golden rules right there, they can help tremendously. And I'm always reminded of that old Fred Rogers quote, there's one thing that evil cannot stand, and it is forgiveness. The fact that she and I reconciled, instead of holding on to those resentments, and that gives me hope. And that gives me peace today. Knowing that conflicts can happen, but we can still get through them. And still learn to love each other, maybe even more. Great stuff. But my friends, I've rambled on way over. I hope you all have a great one today. I'm going to go ahead and scarf this food down here in a minute, but please know, as always, I don't speak on behalf of AA, NA, Al-Anon, any other sect or denomination. I'm just joyful drunk, honored to be here another day. And if we're given another set of 24 hours, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.